Slayer.
Alrighty, what's going on everybody? My name's DanWin47 and welcome back to the channel for more quality Halo content. I'm super psyched out about this. Sorry, I haven't made Halo videos in so long, and I'm just really excited to be back into making more Halo videos for the community and just for anyone watching YouTube as a whole. So, anyways guys, jumping straight on into this video, if you haven't already read the title, then today what we're going to be talking about is what needs to be in Halo 6. I'm going to make a different video entirely about what we want to have in Halo 6 and future Halo titles, but I'm making this video because there are a few key things that I believe, and a lot of you in the community as well believe, have to be in the game. And this being said, like, has to, because these things should be in Halo 6 because they should have taken it away from Halo 4, 5, and all its predecessors to make Halo 6 good, because as a whole I don't think many people will buy the next Halo game if it doesn't have at least a majority of things in this list. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to jump straight on into this. If you agree, be sure to slap that like button down below, and be sure to comment anything that you think needs to be in Halo 6 down below in the comment section so you all can discuss it down there after you've watched this video. But getting into the first one, obviously this is a big must and it's why it's the first one on this list, but 343 needs to add split screen to Halo 6. So before you all flip out, and I say all of you, but you probably won't. Before the ones of you that actually liked it being single player, not really sure why, but anyways, before you harp on me, the thing about Halo was that it's always been, at least in the FPS versions and sequels and things like that, it's always been split screen, and that's been one of the best parts of Halo. Like, I loved that game for its campaign and all of the other aspects of it, like Forge, but being able to share those moments with my friends and family around me is just fantastic. That was one of the best parts of Halo for me, and I'm sure a lot of you out there as well. And not to mention, there aren't many, like, you know, split screen games at all for the Xbox One. So you being one of those games, Halo 6, would be just amazing and would probably sell more games, to be totally honest with you. I've seen a bunch of people that didn't buy Halo 5 just because it didn't have split screen. So please, 343, do not tie your physics mechanics and all of that other things to the frames per second to use as an excuse for not putting in split screen. Alright, so the next thing that I believe needs to be in Halo 6 is a more diverse approach to the community. So the one problem I had in Halo 5, and it was good and bad, but was that they took the community and split it up into little groups. Granted, it is in groups, but they took a few select groups and kind of rose them to the top, so to speak. But they took the pro gamers of Halo and they took the forgers themselves and they put them up on this pedestal because they took a lot more of what they said to heart and implemented it into the game later on than any of the other groups, like the casual players, like the people that played split screen because they weren't there for Halo 5. But they need to be in Halo 6 if they want to sell more games, and this in turn might bring us back to the CR system, which I'll talk about later, and get rid of the whole rec system. Anyways, I'll talk about that later. Alright, so the next one is to bring back map selection. So this probably could have been in my next video where it was about my wants in Halo 6, but I do believe that being able to select maps is key, not because it like makes one map better than the other, but because people want to get on and play the new maps that you've released, especially if they bought like a season pass for Halo 6 or anything like that, or especially if they didn't have to pay for the maps like they're doing with Halo Wars 2 and they did with Halo 5. The problem was I had to sit there and play Arena and Slayer forever to finally be able to get into one of the new maps, and it was just, to me, ridiculous how long it took to get in there, and I still can't select any of the maps I want to sometimes when I need to get gameplay of it or something like that, unless I go into a custom game, which is, to me, a shame. But anyways, so going back to the rec system, a revamped rec system needs to be in Halo 6, or just scrap it entirely and go to somewhat of the Halo Reach CR system. I know that a lot of people in the community love that system, and I personally love that system, so please go back to that or rethink the rec system entirely, because the microtransactions in Halo 5 are just really disheartening for people, and not many people look at Halo 5 and think they're gonna buy it because they're gonna get this armor piece, because there's gonna be, like, God knows how long time in between them buying the game and actually getting that really rare armor piece. Alright, so I'm gonna stop talking about that before I start ranting, but a more diverse customization options need to be in Halo 6, okay? So this whole helmet and then visor and armor piece needs, no, that needs to not be a thing, okay? It needs to be like Reach, and before everybody freaks out because everyone says that it needs to be like Reach, like, at least have it as the Halo 4's customization options. Halo 4 was a good balance between Halo 5 and Halo Reach's customization options. So if you're not going to go with Reach because it limits the, I don't know, coding and all that other storage that you could be placing elsewhere in the game to make it better, then please settle for Halo 4, because that was just good old-fashioned customization options. And the revamps of the same old armors but just with different paint jobs is just, it's really sad and kind of obnoxious that it takes forever to get one armor piece and then it takes not very long to get another of the same armor piece, because it just doesn't even make any sense. Alright, anyways, so here's a next, this one kind of irks me and a lot of the other people in the community, but there needs to be more maps at launch. So this is it's part of a bigger problem that Halo 5 had that needs to be addressed in Halo 6, which was the fact that the game was not finished at launch. Okay, the gameplay was there, the core gameplay was there, which is what they needed to ship it, but to be honest, it was not finished. Okay, there was a lot of content that was not in there that they finally made up for, but at the time it was not there. It left a lot of, like, bad tastes in people's mouths. So just please add more maps at launch and all of that other stuff. But so this one's a positive one, this next one. Stay in touch with the community like you did throughout Halo 5's Growth 343, because this game, like, as much as it had its issues and things like that, that was one thing that you did really well that a lot of games don't do anymore, is that you stuck with the community, you listened to what they had to say. Granted, you did, like I said, raise a couple of them up on the pedestal, but if you listen to the community like you did, you will keep players interested in the game, and you will even bring in new players, because people in the community will talk to their friends about how good you listen and all of that other stuff. So just keep that up. That was really good. Now back to a not so good one that happened in Halo 5. Thankfully they did learn from it in Halo Wars 2 at least, but a more truthful marketing. So this has nothing to do with the game itself, but the marketing for Halo 5, as amazing as it was, had absolutely nothing to do with the actual campaign, which kind of sucks because it had so many people hooked, and then when the game actually came out, it literally had nothing to do with it, and that made so many people mad, including myself, because, like, there was a fight between Locke and Chief, but it was, one, very short, and two, had nothing to do with what they said the actual fight was going to be about in the marketing. So please don't do that again, 343. Alright, so next one, dedicated servers. They had that in Halo 5, so good job, just keep it up. Add the dedicated servers to Halo 6, because God knows the whole server thing where somebody else was the host and then them leaving made it end is just ridiculous, so please don't do that. This next one I will say was some good and some bad. So Halo 5 had obviously Forge added a little bit later because it wasn't finished at launch. So yes, that wasn't particularly good, but I told a lot of people when it came out that I would rather have Forge later than have it not finished when the game actually came out, which was the case in Halo 5. But a lot of people looked at it and they tried out the new controls and things like that, and even though there were so many things, and in my opinion, and a lot of others, this was the best Halo Forge that's been in any title. There needs to be a tutorial, because a lot of people strayed away from it and said it was the worst simply because of the controls. So if you gave them a tutorial telling them how to use Forge, I'm sure they would take a whole new approach to forging in general, and it would help out me in specific a ton too. But just please do that. I know it hasn't been in any other Halo game, but if you're gonna stick with Halo 5's Forge for Halo 6, then add a tutorial, please. Alright, so this one has to do with the story, and I'm sorry for this longer than usual video, but I have a lot of points to get to here, and 343, if you're watching this, please stay tuned till the end, because all of these tips are very useful and need to be in Halo 6. And also at the end, I have a little something for 343 if you're watching, so be sure to stick to the end, or at least skip to the end, I don't know. But anyways, the next one is for the story, stray away from the, I don't know, deeper lore in the main story. So as much as we all loved seeing Blue Team in the campaign, I in specific, because I know a lot about the deeper lore stuff than the usual, I don't know, average Halo player, I loved seeing them, but a lot of it came out of nowhere. No one, like half the people that played casually had no idea who Blue Team was, and we weren't really introduced to them properly in Halo 5. Even though it was cool having them, and they were new characters, they weren't really developed well, and it would have been fine if they were developed well, because this also brings us to another point where the story needs to be more, I don't know, if you're gonna bring in new characters, then delve into their backstory more, just so people know who they are and actually care about them, instead of just playing, I don't know, stuff like that. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of that. That's a different topic for a different time. But the next one is race game types at launch. So this goes back into one of the previous points where I was talking about having Forge and all of those other things at launch, but just having all of the key Halo game types. Don't look at Halo 5 for the game types you need, because they're not all in there, unfortunately. Look at Reach. Reach was a very good example of all of the community and even 343 slash, I don't know, I'm not going to say 343, but Halo made game types. So just look at Reach, see all the game types that thrive in there, and put them in at launch. If there are one or two game types that aren't put in there, I don't know, day one, then that's fine, but be sure to put them in fairly quickly, because us having to wait about 6 months for Infection in Halo 5 was just a tad bit ridiculous. So yeah, please do that. But anyway, so we are now at the end. So 343 members, if you're watching this, I thank you for watching till the end. But this is for you and the community. So everyone just needs to stop saying that 343 needs to go back to Bungie's Halo game, because it may have been the pinnacle moment in Halo's history a few years ago, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have what it takes, and 343 doesn't have what it takes to push Halo higher than it ever was before, or even better than it was in Reach, because a lot of people think that that was the best Halo game, even though it was made by Bungie. So what 343 you need to do is to take the best parts from Bungie's time in creating the originals and use those pieces to make new ones. Use those pieces to make a new and better Halo game, so people can look back on Halo 6 when Halo 10's come out or something like that and be like, man, I wish this game was like Halo 6. I mean, granted, I would like Halo 10 to be just as good, if not better, than Halo 6, but either way, you need to take the best parts, i.e. like playable elites and all the other things that we're going to get to in the Halo 6 What We Want video, but you just need to take those pieces, the key pieces of Halo, mesh them together and make 343's Halo. Because I know everybody starts out low and jumps to a high, but Halo 4 to Halo 5 kind of was like an arc in the case that it went up in Halo 4 and then it came back down in Halo 5, and now it's at like a kind of neutral point, but it's on the verge of a low, so you need to up your game with Halo 6 because Halo Wars 2 was a good example of what you need to do in future Halo titles. So I mean, take away from this video what you will, any one of you viewers that are watching, but be sure to comment anything down below that you think needs to be in Halo 6, because you never know who's watching these videos, and you never know who could be reading your comments, because I know there are some things that I missed. Granted, I tried to take the key pieces and stuff like that and put them in this video, but obviously there are more out there, so if you do know anything, then like I said, be sure to put those down in the comments. And if you liked my, I don't know, key things and all of these other points that need to be in Halo 6, then be sure to smack that like button, as it helps me out a ton. Be sure to share this video on social media too, because, you know, like I said, you never know who could be watching it, and if you share it, you never know who could watch it from your share. But anyways, I'm gonna stop trying to promote this video and just put it out there. So anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all in the next video, guys, and be sure to keep on rocking, Spartans.